Hi, how's it going?
Hi. Sorry, I was muted. Hello.
Good to see ya.
How you doing?
Oh my gosh, I'm great. New York City it's my favorite time of year. It's just like hot and everybody's walking around and you're just like kind of sweating all the time. And I know that's controversial, but I love it. A Florida girl, you know?
Yeah. I'm so happy that the weather has turned there. It has been warm in Nashville, so I've been enjoying it, but I'm so glad. I know. I know. Really, the whole mood of the city changes in New York when it gets warm.
A whole mood. It's a complete vibe shift. I
A
am looking
sense
at
of
the weather.
relief that you made it through the winter.
No, for sure. And like this winter especially was absolutely brutal. And I was just like, this is an entirely different city. Like it just
Mhm.
happened. It swaps on a dime.
Mhm.
And I do believe it's not going to be nice this weekend, which is a little bit of a bummer. Um, because it's kind of just it's a tease, you know, it's a bait and switch, it's a rug
Yeah.
pull.
Also, holiday weekend. Big
Holiday
holiday weekend.
weekend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of people out of town, but oh, I don't think I told you this. My mom's coming to town doing a little
Oh,
girls weekend.
just mom? Just mom and daughter?
Just mom and daughter. Yeah. So we're gonna go see a show. We're gonna go do a little cute staycation for
Nice.
me. So that will be a fun little Memorial Day weekend. Um, are you guys doing anything?
We have some things with friends planned, but we're staying in town.
Okay. Some hiking? Any hiking?
Hiking always, every weekend. Get out
Mhm.
there in the woods. It's
Touch
honestly
grass.
like I need it for my mental health. Like I read at some point that there was like some study done that was something about like when your eyes experience, especially nature, like passing through in that way, like that you're
Okay.
like it's like a relaxing thing that it does to your like
God's
physiological
creation.
state.
Witnessing God's creation is
Yeah,
like
and it's like something about the like you're looking ahead, but like you're seeing stuff pass in your peripheral vision, and like it's
okay.
that act that actually really
Soothe.
relaxes your body. Yeah, soothes and relax. And so I feel it, and also it gets the kids tired,
Tired.
which is my goal
Totally.
every day. Which is also explains we have a hole in our backyard. I think you saw it the last time you were here, right?
A hole?
Yeah. Did I
Oh,
you
the
know
hole
see the
wasn't
hole?
there.
Okay. The hole's
There's
new.
a hole.
Relatively new. It's been going for a couple weeks
In
and
the grass area or in
in the
the
grass area. Yeah. And
okay.
sort of to the same goal. The kids, we need to get the kids tired, put them to work on a hole.
They're digging a grave.
They're digging, yeah. Digging. The only point of the dig is to dig.
No goal in
And
mind.
no goal in mind.
You
It's
guys
like,
should just sorry, continue.
oh no, it's just like Zen-like. It's like there's no point except for the now in
The
it,
work of the hand.
Yeah.
I think that you guys should do like a time capsule or something in it.
Oh, nice. Yeah. At some point
Purpose.
we're gonna have to figure out how to patch it up, but that's I
Well,
think
then
an
they have
end
to
of summer.
fill. They have to fill the hole. They dig
The
and then
the
fill.
it's been evaporated into the
Oh.
it is there's going to have to be a strategy about what we do with the hole at some
Oh,
point, but
someone's gonna have to go to Home Depot?
yeah, for sure. I'll send you a photo of the hole. It's I think probably just
Looking
going to
forward
keep
to
getting
it.
bigger and bigger because we're starting on summer break and it's like what are the kids going to do? Just go
Dig
dig a
a
hole
hole
in
in
the
the
backyard.
backyard.
Okay, so we have a fun show today. Actually, really fun because it's just going to be us for the most part. Yapping
Throwback.
old time, yeah, like the olden days. We are going to run a fun chat that I had with Raees Chowdhury at the end of the episode. Rais is a co-founder and chief investment officer of TokeEdge, which is sort of like a tokenized hedge fund,
Oh,
and
cool.
they are doing some cool innovative stuff. And it's kind of like TradFi DeFi marriage, which we've seen lots of different iterations of, but I do think that they have an interesting edge on, and so that will be the second half of our show. But in the meantime, I know we have a lot of stuff we want to cover.
We do.
Everlane, Andre Carthy.
I'm on a mergers and acquisition beat today.
Nice. Great.
Yeah,
Someone's
it's
got to do
themed.
it. Shall we give a quick shout out first
Yes.
to our lovely sponsor, Polygon? Sorry, no, Kate was waiting there eagerly in the background.
Ready
I could see she was ready, and I was edging. Okay, Polygon. Every company moving money globally hits the same walls. Legacy rails are slow, expensive, and built for a pre-internet world. Stablecoin rails are fast, but they're fragmented across vendors that don't talk to each other. The plumbing to deliver on the promise of stablecoins hasn't existed. Polygon's open money stack is fixing that. One unified stack that puts global money movement onto proven rails that move at the speed of the internet. And why Polygon? Because they've been moving money. Check out the link in the chat to learn more. And we love you, Polygon. Thank you so much for supporting this show.
We love Polygon. Not their first trillion. They're up to some very cool, very legitimate things. Okay, speaking of, I recently, I do these Friday night dinners. We talked about this on this show, bringing people together. And my friend this week was like, hey, can I invite someone that I go to church with? And she I think has some crypto, used to work in crypto once upon a time, whatever. I was like, for sure. And we go to dinner. So fun, great time. And we start connecting about our careers and, whatever, start chatting. This woman is so legitimate. It's so funny because working in crypto can mean literally anything.
Literally anything. Yeah. Who is she? What'd she do?
So I don't know that I want to dox her full name here, but I will say what she does. She was so she starts talking and about what she's doing now, and she's doing advisory roles right now. But prior to that, she was like, well, I was at Jane Street, and she was like, well, I was a quant trader at Jane Street, and I was like, oh, okay, casual, and I was like, oh, okay, and she was like, yeah, and then 2018, I started to see some of the stuff that was happening in crypto, and so I started their Jane Street's crypto institutional arm. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
And nobody else at the table worked in crypto. And I was just like, I just need everybody here to know that this woman is unbelievably impressive and at the top of the game. And she was like, oh no. So she was being humble. And I was like, you don't need to be humble. I was like, wow, okay. And then we're talking about the Clarity Act and the Genius Bill. And I'm like, wow. Sometimes you just meet people along the way that are just really impressive and have some shared interests,
I love that. You don't have to tell me what she's up to now, but I am curious what one with that background, how they're feeling about things currently.
Yeah, she talked it was actually really nice because she comes from being a trader first and crypto second. That's very much the way that she approaches, I think, assets in general. So she really started to talk about the state of the market, this, how liquidity has moved in all these different tech trends and what that does for the broader market. And honestly, maybe she'll come on the podcast and talk about it. But it was really interesting I think we get really siloed into a very specific, not even just crypto with us, but it's a very specific, okay, this is what's happening in AI and this is what's happening in crypto, or this is what's happening in trad markets. And it was useful to, which I'm sure a lot of traders have this perspective of a holistic, it's all about money.
The macro view.
Macro view around capital markets, basically.
Yeah.
So, so it wasn't grifter vibes of obviously this woman, but I'm saying sometimes people talk about what's happening in AI and it's oh, they're just moving to the next interest. And I'm like, no, this woman is just looking at how the markets work and where money is flowing and really interesting stuff. So
speaking of where money is flowing, I just want to do a quick shout out to my peptide dealer who just got some more money from me just now before I got on the live stream.
Okay. I don't know what you're go ahead.
You don't want me to share my peptide?
I would love for you to share. I want you to share so that I know what we're talking about.
Oh, I just am sharing what I'm going to share what I'm taking.
Okay, great. That's what I thought you were doing, but I was like, I'm going to stop myself before I dox your regimen.
I got it. Don't. Thank you for the kindness. There was kindness around that. So I have been taking Retatrutide. Retatrutide, Retta. I'm just going to shorten it to Retta. Retatrutide. I actually am not sure how we're pronouncing it, but Retta for short. For I took it from January to April. Lost 25 pounds.
Incredible. Which also, what's incredible about that is like, from where was my biggest question.
You'd be surprised. Like, and it's like, and like, feel great, feel incredible, feels honestly like amazing. Took a 3.5 weeks off, basically, like dosed down, took 3.5 weeks off. And honestly, like missed not necessarily the appetite suppression, but missed the ancillary benefits around reducing noise generally. Cognitive noise was reduced significantly while I was mental clarity. Yeah. And like ability to focus. And there are articles that are coming out around like basically off-label use for these peptides, which is for ADHD treatment. And it makes sense because I'm like, yeah, I like definitely was more locked in guy when I was, especially at the higher doses when in like February, March. And so
Can I give a little introduction to what Retta is for people? Okay. Retta is a non-FDA approved peptide. It is a GLP-3. So that's part of what has made it not FDA approved. Obviously, there are many GLP-1s that are FDA approved. And it's sort of a new classification. And my understanding of it is that there is essentially like peptides are amino acids that are telling your body to do specific things, like giving information to different parts of your brain and your body to respond. And when they're saying a GLP-3, again, not Natasha MD, this is my general broad strokes understanding, is that it's essentially like that 3 stands for that it's telling your brain it's firing on 3 different levels as opposed to a singular level. And so what the research has shown is that it's really, really, really effective, mostly on mental clarity and targeting like fat cells more specifically, and also in that like hunger suppression much more effectively than some of the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
That's like my understanding of the benefits at this
Great
point.
synopsis.
And they are in the process of like, it is in the process of being FDA approved, and it's like fairly far down that line. So it's not like one that has gone through no testing whatsoever. It's definitely had some,
Yeah, it's in the advanced stages of testing, so much so that you can, if you were to do some Googling around it now on X, you would see some guys starting to be like, time to buy the Eli Lilly stock because Retatrutide is going to be approved, and we got to get in before that approval comes, so the stock price will bump. That aside, I am now.
Wait, one other thing. Can I add about the? Okay, the other thing that the reason you will see it on Twitter with like a lot of these like thread guy, bro, Seif type people is because of the makeup of it and like the differentiation from a GLP-1 to a GLP-3 that is targeting more specifically fat cells. It is what men take, or not men, but what people and a lot of these like think boy, thread guy bros take to be like really shredded. And that's like what the dosage that they're trying to perfect and the way that they are recreationally taking it, the benefits they're looking for is like a really shredded, toned vibe from at least what I'm getting fed around it on like the Twitter sphere. Manosphere. The manosphere.
The manosphere. And honestly, same. I'm like, that's my goal as well, to shred it for the summer of 2026. And okay, so I'm dosing back up slowly, like low dosing back up. And also this week just started GHK-Cu, which is
I saw this in the chat.
A copper it's like copper peptide basically is how people colloquially refer to it. And it is hair, skin, and nails and / inflammation. Pains me to say that word and to use it as a way to describe honestly anything. But that is what some folks say about it. But I think like the headline for it is like, skin, nails,
Beauty.
health.
It's the beauty.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. And I will say, so I've been injecting Retta for however long. Honestly, having a great time with that. Like enjoying it probably a little bit too much where I'm like, okay, it's my week. It's my day. There's something like, I don't know. There's something like you taking, it's something that is like you're doing it yourself. Like there's a
Can I tell you what
thing.
it is? Psychologically, in my opinion, it's like, and part of this is like, I'm looking at this chat that we're in, Perps and Peptides. It's a bunch of women who, one, trade on leverage, and two, take a variety of experimental peptides for a variety of reasons. And like every single woman in there is like a type A, structured, quite successful person. And I'm
so
like,
you think, okay, keep
it's
going.
a control thing.
Okay. Yeah. I could see that. I could see that. But I will say like,
cool.
Yeah. Honestly, like I have felt more in control of the destiny of my body in a way that I never have felt with a doctor or medicine. Like, that's probably totally misdirected and problematic, but it's just for the sake of honesty.
The truth. Yeah.
It's the truth for me. Anyway, what I will say about GHK-Cu is that I've been taking it now for a couple of days and it's really painful. Like the injection is really painful and it's not fun.
I really hate that.
And it's like, it stings when it goes in and then it leaves a little welt.
You've been injecting up until now into your arm.
Yeah, because I was like, it needs to travel to my face. So I need to get it. I need to inject.
If anybody was wondering the credibility of our knowledge of these things, we just told them everything they need to know, which is good.
Exactly. Good. You have all the information right there.
Kate.
But I will say, big unlock for me has been someone in the chat was like, I've been taking it as well. The only place to pin it is in your ass because that's the only place it's not painful. I did that this morning. Zero pain.
Is that because it's more of like a fatty part of your body?
I honestly have no idea. I have no, I would love to see the signs of it because I do not know.
Wouldn't we all?
We all would. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that. That's my peptide update. So now everyone knows what I'm taking. And I also want to say that I bought some peptides for my mom to take this summer, which I bought her, which I'm going to inject NAD plus, which is like a longevity and sort of energy peptide. And then the Wolverine Stack, because we're going to Italy.
You got her the Wolverine Stack.
I got her the Wolverine Stack. Yeah.
Why? My understanding of Wolverine Stack is like, again, like literally what these celebrity men take before they're doing like a superhero movie. Like
it is that, but it's also like muscle and tendon. Like part of why they're doing that is because they want to work out harder. And so they want to repair their muscles faster. And like have faster repair in the muscles so they can get more juiced. But for my mom, I'm like, we're going to be walking 15,000 steps a day minimum in Italy. And she needs to be able to keep up.
She needs to be able to do that. And then she needs to be able to babysit when you and me and Dave go on a terrace and have beverages.
One cigarette. Yeah. So that's the whole story. I actually want to share one other thing, newsworthy around the GLP conversations, which I don't know that you've seen. So I'm excited to share this with you.
Two things really quick.
Yeah.
On the peptide front. One, Perps and Peptides. Last night, I didn't dig into this, but I did see this. But on the Perps and Peptides front, during the day, people were chatting yesterday. Had to mute it, unfortunately. Totally. I hate to do it, but I was like, mute for 8 hours. I need to lock in guy on some other stuff. Then I got in bed and, I don't have social media on my phone anymore. So like, there's no scrolling that's happening in bed for me. And I was like, I have my Perps and Peptide chatting to catch up on. And it was literally like my nighttime story, like 120 messages back and forth on like basically GHK-Cu, right? Is what it's called?
Yeah, GHK-Cu, yeah.
Okay. And like also people like being like, just for the record, like you can overdose on this. This is what happened to me. Like, everybody should know these are very, very serious things to be putting into your body. And anyway, it was really fun to catch up on that and think about everybody's stack and just all these ladies.
I know, it's crazy.
Stuff.
It's really crazy.
What's this?
Okay, so this hit the timeline yesterday, and it's a short video of Sam Altman talking to Kara Swisher about overdosing on a GLP-1.
Okay.
And he's basically like, he had what is now becoming a canon event, which is taking too much of a GLP in one go. And he basically like went to a compounding pharmacy. I don't know like why he went to such a broken one, but he got his peptide source from someone who misdosed it. And like who
of all people,
your peptide guy at that level like should be elite.
Excellent.
Yeah,
honestly, and that's terrifying. Like it showcases the state of the industry.
Yeah, exactly.
That Sam Altman is getting like misdosed is like insane.
I totally agree. He got a bad it was misdosed. It was reconstituted, because basically what happens is you get these peptides and they're in powder form. A lot of them are in powder form. And so you have to reconstitute them with what's called backwater. And so there's some math and some chemistry that happens in that moment where you need to like get the milligrams to the milliliters and make sure it's all like the ratio is correct so that you're able to know how much you're giving yourself and like whatever. So that's what this compounding pharmacy did for Sam. They did it incorrectly. He ended up taking like a mega crazy high dose as his first ever dose of GLP.
Do you know which one?
I think a GLP-1. So I think it was like
semaglutide or something like that.
Yeah, semaglutide. And he ended up in the hospital. It was really sick. He was like, he was throwing up all night, and then he was in the hospital, and he said he was sitting in the hospital for a couple days, like staring at the ceiling, having no desire to do or think about or like have any like it's like totally like killed any motivation to do anything. Desire. Yeah.
Wow.
Flattened.
Desire block. Whoa. Yeah. Crazy. Did you experience that on Retta?
I don't think I think they call it like adonia or something. Ahedonia.
Or like the colloquial term is like the great gray out.
Yeah, I could see it.
I think what some people experience on like antidepressants, like where it's like all the noise, like it just feelings kind of diminish or like.
Yeah, it's almost like everything, because like the lows will flatten too. Like the highs will flatten and the lows, like everything kind of like comes in a little bit. It didn't affect my I was way more motivated when I was taking it, so it did certainly like it flattened a little. It didn't flatten for me, but like I could see it how it could easily if I was increasing the dose, I think, especially.
Yeah, totally.
What about you?
Well, now that everybody knows. I started Retta last week. I don't feel like, I don't know, I feel like I have a choice every day on my desires in a way that I had not that choice before. Where I'm like, okay, there's like a path to be like, okay, I want this thing, I'm gonna do this thing. Or like, I want this thing, I don't really need to do that thing. And like that feels very chemical. That does not feel like emotional in a way that I've never experienced.
Okay, should we? Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Oh no, we can transition to mergers and acquisitions.
Everlane Shein really shook the timeline.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'm just gonna go right into it. Okay. So this story was scooped by Lauren Sherman at Puck on Saturday, which I have on background from some people close to the matter around this, which is going to be really fun to get into. Okay. But basically what happened is Saturday news breaks on Puck from this woman, Lauren, that Everlane is selling to Shein, valued at $100 million. And for those of you who do not know what Everlane or Shein is, God bless. And also, basically, I'm going to give you like the shape of it just in case. So Everlane launched 2011. They were like very much a part of like the D2C, like they were a D2C darling. Like we're cutting out the Harry's style. We bought a factory, cutting out the middlemen. Like that wave of companies they were like at the top of that list and raised a bunch of money to do that. And their core premise was essentially like, this is a brand that's built on sustainability and radical transparency. And their model was to showcase, this is how much something costs to produce. This is our margin. This is how much you're paying for it. It was designed to be like basics that were a direct pushback on fast fashion and waste. And I have a few links that are
There was
in
also a
here.
moment that was like, I remember for like 10 minutes, they were like, you can decide what you want to pay. You could pay whatever you feel like you want to pay.
That's what they did around sales. So they didn't have
Okay.
sales. They had like, these things are now pay what you want or something. And like you choose.
Yeah.
And which is crazy. But okay. Are you going to share your screen?
Oh, I can. Yeah. Are these links in here?
There's two links that I just want to highlight around like how much the brand was rooted in a sense of like ethical shopping and
Perhaps maybe even virtue signaling, some would
uh,
maybe say. Oh.
for sure. For sure. And then basically like one of the campaigns they ran in 2012 was like, we're not going to do Black Friday sale. We're not even not going to do Black Friday sale. We're going to turn off our website on Black Friday to solve for like to prove a point that like our customers are responsible consumers. And so that's what, and you can scroll down and you can like see the asset that they posted. That was basically like, there's so much waste in the world, like buy less, buy better. Like this is like the missional driven marketing that they would do. There's another one that's more recent that was like
this one.
This one. Yeah. It's like use once, worn forever. It had like a whole thing about how many plastic water bottles exist in the world and like how this new technology that they've produced is a way to solve that. Whatever. There's a ton of, we could do this for the next hour and a half. Like there's so much of this type of marketing that they did. Okay. So that's Everlane. A few other things about Everlane. It was founded by a guy named Michael Praisman. He was very much the face of the company for a long time. And then they started to have 2020. There was some like, everybody started calling out their virtue signaling. People started to like poke holes in when everybody became like a villain, no matter like that era of like everybody was bored at home and trying to figure out like, who can I cancel? They were in sort of that wave. Not him specifically, but the brand as a whole. And then 2022, he stepped down and became executive chair of the board and climate lead. So that was his situation. I will say in 2020, they sold a majority stake to a PE firm. What was it? L. Carterton.
Oh, okay. That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. And at that point in 2020, they basically took over the board and like controlled the board at this point.
Got it.
Okay. So that's Everlane. Shein. On the other side of the spectrum, one would think, is the Chinese company Shein, which is known for basically like what most people would say, like everything that is unethical about manufacturing, like poor working conditions, poverty wages, exploitation of labor, supply chain issues, ultra fast fashion, huge contributor to carbon footprint, constantly copying like small indie designers with dupes. Like it truly is the poster child on like unethical manufacturing, like genuinely. And like there's nothing else to say about it besides that. Huge. Totally. Oh, also there's like tons of concerns about like Chinese surveillance through the site and the app and like whatever. That's what's
also
going on here.
Selling things you couldn't even.
Oh, Kate's saying she has this. Whatever this is, she has it. I don't know what it is.
It's a soft butter stress toy. It looks like a stick of butter, but I guess it's a some sort of fidget.
Oh, it's like a what you would hold when you're like getting Botox, like to make you like feel better. Wait, that's funny. That's so funny. Okay, so news breaks this weekend that on Saturday, Shein is purchasing ethical millennial D2C global brand Everlane.
Yeah.
And there in that report, it is discussed that they have been searching for investors for a while. They were $90 million in debt. They did a $25 million loan from Gordon Brothers, a $65 million asset-based line of credit. Like, they were in the shitter. And Shein came in with an offer. I have some background from a source. I'm a journalist.
Tell us.
Basically, nobody who worked there knew that this was happening. The story that leaked in Puck was like news to everybody who worked there. Then there's like a Slack message that goes out that's like, at everyone, like, we'll be having a meeting on Monday AM to discuss.
Yeah, we will.
LOL. And that was bad. And then basically, like, contractors, freelancers, nobody has been paid in months. There was like a huge brand campaign that they had shot, I believe with Suki Waterhouse. That might be wrong, so don't hold me on that. But that they shot months ago that they never put out because none of the contractors were paid. So there's tons of people who are like waiting essentially for their invoice from Everlane to be paid. Lots of people super pissed. Additionally, so that happened. And then some screenshots were sent to me from yesterday of the CEO joining Duolingo. You know how you get a push notification if you have a contact in your phone? And the reports are that he has to learn Chinese because the new buyers are Chinese.
Oh my gosh.
Tough. That's tough. That's tough to see. That's tough to say.
Well, also at $100 million valuation with all of that debt, and like it starts to be like, oh, that was actually kind of like a fire sale.
Oh, I think so. I think for sure. I mean, they're one part $90 million in debt. There's like some of that is a line of credit. Like, I don't know, maybe someone walked away with something, but like, I think if you are the CEO and you are downloading Duolingo like Monday AM because your new buyer doesn't like wants to speak Chinese to you, like, we're in dire straits. Like, so that's what I know about the Everlane Shein.
Wow. Well, you know what? I think the big lesson there, and honestly was the big lesson from that 2020 era as well, is that being a hypocrite is actually the worst thing you can be.
Yeah.
And you will get railed the hardest from a media perspective if there's a narrative violation with how you've been presenting previously. And I think this is the case study number one around that.
I also feel like it feels very much, this has been happening for a while, but like so much an end of an era of a very specific type of like millennial brand. And that is what it is. And I also think, like, for the record, if just to not be a hypocrite, if someone came to me and wanted to buy something that I had built for $100 million, very tough to say no.
100%. I was 100%. I actually say that more just as like a lesson for us all to remember to stay open heart, open hand about how
to Chinese manufacturing companies.
Okay. I'm just going to do a quick shout out here to Vercel.
Right.
Our second sponsor who we adore. If you are a startup building with agents, look no further than Vercel. Their agentic infrastructure gives you and your agents everything you need to ship. And if you're supported by one of their hundreds of VC or accelerator partners, you have access to exclusive discounts and benefits. You can deploy faster, scale globally, and ship world-class AI products with Vercel. You can check out the platform that thousands of companies use from day zero to IPO at vercel.com/startups. And they are also a sponsor of Show Me Your Stack. And there is an incredible new episode of Show Me Your Stack with Farza that is out now. And that is getting some great traction. And you should definitely watch it. And he speaks a lot about his agentic workflows and the stuff that he's doing with agents, but also and how he does that. And he does that using Vercel. And also just like really interesting how he takes inspiration from navigating the web, like whether it's songs or screenshots, but also how he takes like his analog notes and turns them, all of that, into something that like can be usable for him and like can be actioned on. It's really interesting. And I think for people who are like feeling like they pull a lot of stuff from lots of different places and like want to figure out how to streamline it, it's great.
Yeah,
great episode.
It's a great episode. Subscribe to Kate. Pull it back up. I know what you were doing, and I'm gonna do it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Boys Club World to get episodes as they drop live. Also, from the chat, just to protect Kate's brand. I don't think she really cares, but she bought her butter scrunchy thing, whatever that is, on Etsy.
Okay.
On Etsy.
Okay. Well, honestly, further to the point that they ripped that off Etsy and brought it to Shein.
For sure, 100%. So anyway, she bought from the independent designer, or creator or manufacturer. I don't know, whoever made that. Okay, do you want to go next?
Yes, I do. Mine just a quick one. Waymos are in Nashville. I just tweeted about this morning, and they are mostly just testing. There's like, they can pick up some passengers, but you see them just now, like every day you'll see one that's like going down the streets, and was at school pickup and overheard very hostile conversation about Waymos. And then I had there was a play date that was happening at the house, and I don't know like who. I have like this second life in Nashville where like I really don't disclose that I have a podcast, but like some people find out, and I don't know if those people find out and then listen, or they find out and they of course don't listen, because why would you? But like, but I don't know who listens or who doesn't listen. So I feel like
you should, you know, it would be iconic, you going around acting as though everybody's listening.
I'm sure I was talking about this on my podcast last week, obviously. So I'll keep it vague, but it was a play date, and I overheard one of the kids saying, my dad, when he sees a Waymo, he like beats it up, and he like, because he doesn't want them driving on our street. And I overheard that, and I just let it go, and then I pulled.
You let it go, but you were like, I'm going to talk about this on my podcast.
Yeah, I was like, this is clocked.
This is not off the record.
No, And then I pulled Oscar aside, and I was like, hey, so just so you know, like Waymo's actually way safer, and like there's way less car accidents when Waymos are driving as opposed to human drivers. And so like, I really like Waymos, and I think like their public health initiative, I didn't say that, but like was basically like, trying to impart that fact, which is that like they're actually way safer. And I was like, I brought so much weird energy to that conversation, and
I can only imagine.
He was like, yeah, okay, I know, Mom. Like, I know some people don't like Waymos.
He's like, I actually don't want to talk about this with you.
He's like, I know people don't. I know some people don't like Waymos, but like, it's okay. It's okay. I know. And I was like, okay, cool off a little bit, walk away. But
okay, wait. I have a question for you. So I have someone, a close friend who works at Waymo, and I talk a lot about Waymo. Find it fascinating, the work that she's doing there. And one of the things that I'm curious about with you is that there is this trend, or there's this like maybe trend's too strong of a word, but there some moms and some different like coalitions of like anti-drunk driving, or like whatever, these different types of coalitions are very supportive of Waymo for obvious reasons.
Totally. Yeah.
And one of the like lines of thinking is that parents can put their kids in a Waymo and have them commute to school. What do you think?
Not possible. I would love nothing more. When a minor gets in a Waymo now, at this point, they aren't allowed. The car like stops and says like, there's a minor in the car.
That is in Tennessee. So that's actually a state regulated thing. If a minor can be in a car by themselves or not, there's like a law. That's a state law. So one of the things Waymo is doing is legislating on behalf of that.
Anyway,
so if it were legal, I guess my question is, would you do
100% it would. 100% it would. And that actually ties back to something that I also similarly get pretty fired up about, which is, bear with me, just going to paint a small picture, which is people live in the city, couples, they get married. Sometimes they're like, we want to live this idyllic life upstate. Couples move upstate to have their kids and to raise their families. And
you're talking New York.
From New York City to upstate New York. Yeah.
Correct.
And so there's this thing where it's like, oh, we're going to like go to Woodstock, which is where I was raised. So that's why it's there. But like, we're going to go and we're going to have this like life in the country, and our kids are going to be so free from whatever. And I will say that that is true for when your kids are really small, but when your kids are 13 in upstate New York and 14 and 15 in upstate New York, it's really boring compared to the city. And you get into all sorts of shenanigans, saying this from firsthand case study, and learned experience. And the amount of drunk driving that happens with teenagers who live in upstate New York. I've had a handful of people who got in really bad car accidents, one person who died. Like, there's so much intoxicated driving that happens for teenagers who live in upstate New York, and I'm sure other semi-rural places, right, where you have to drive, where you have to be in a car. And it's like
something to think about.
It's something to think about. And it's really like sad. And I think at this point preventable if we can get Waymos to a point where like they're accessible and they're affordable. I don't know like what that math looks like. And even if it's like the issue about upstate New York, at least where I grew up, was like everything was like at least a 20-minute, like
totally.
You're in the car for a while and you're like on back roads and like, and so
country, dark roads, like,
just to say, I think that there could be a lot of pain prevented should
Waymo for Woodstock.
Waymo's for Woodstock.
No, I'm a huge Waymo fan. I have literally no notes. Like, I mean, the only thing that I understand the argument, especially in New York City, is like you're taking jobs from people, and that's understandable. And that needs to be solved for. But I do think there are some interesting solutions that I have been hearing coming down the pipeline. But anyway, okay. I want to briefly talk. I don't think we need to get too into this, but news hit today that I think is interesting. I don't know if you've heard this, but James Murdoch, the son of Rupert Murdoch. Why can't I say these people's names?
Not sure, but it's okay. We all know what you're talking about.
Okay, great. He's the second child. He's not. So Rupert Murdoch is who Succession is loosely based on. And his children. So James is not Kendall. He's the second child, just so everybody knows, because in my head he was Kendall, and I was really putting some things together on what a tweet could be. But anyway, his holding company, Lupa Systems, is buying New York Magazine, and Vox Media's podcast network, as well as the Vox website, for $300 million. And this is a very dramatic expansion for him as an individual in the US, as a media mogul and a son of like the most famous media mogul, potentially. Some particularities of the sale. So the Cut, Vulture, Intelligence, The Strategist, Curbed, Grub Street, and the podcast network, including Pivot, Scott Galloway's Criminal, or Pivot with Kara Swisher and Scott Galloway, Criminal, and Today Explained, are a part of the sale. Then there's a separate part of New York Mag, The Verge, Eater, Pop Sugar, SB Nation, and a few others.
Sugar is still going? Oh my gosh.
Those are not a part of the sale. So they are
like, never, we don't need, don't worry about it.
We're good. We're going to they were like redlining it and they're just scratching it out. And so that's happening. Famously, so Rupert Murdoch is a very problematic figure, I would say. I would say a lot of people really, really fucking hate him. He is the owner of Fox News. He's known for spreading misinformation about climate change. People think that he has utilized his media properties for his own to shape politics in the US and the UK and many other countries. People really hate what he has done to the tabloid industry. He did not create the tabloid industry, but he tinkered around with it to get it just right. So New York Post famously owned by him, and The Sun in the UK famously owned by him. So he's really hated. He's 95 years old. He's old as fuck. And so he's on his way out for sure. And him and James have very famously been at odds with each other. And James has very much differentiated himself from his father, and left the board in 2020, primarily citing disagreements around the way that he was spreading information around and denying climate change. He's also a Democrat, so he has donated very prominently to Democratic parties, especially around Trump's reelection, part of what came to a head as well. So
okay, so he's the Shiv actually in Succession.
He's kind of the Shiv. Yeah, he's kind of the Shiv. Yeah, a lot of chatter and media Twitter is talking quite a bit about it. I got to tell you, when you work in tech and you see $300 million, I was like,
chump change,
rookie numbers.
Couch, that's what you find in your couch cushions.
Like, Everlane just sold for 100. What are we doing, people? Like, I'm confused. So anyway, I don't know. I guess it is like a splitting of the properties. Like, it wasn't like the full suite of properties within New York Mag. But curious what Kara Swisher thinks.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Kara, will you go on record saying your thoughts and feelings about this acquisition? Would love to hear.
I feel she probably will.
She probably will, yeah.
She's
probably gearing up for it right now. Okay, quick one, and then we can jump to our interview here. Just want to give a quick shout out to the girls who are building cyberdecks right now. Cool. There is a trend that's happening, and it's so cool. I'm going to give a little visual here. This girl here, Marissa, you should follow her on X. So a cyberdeck is basically a little mini computer that people make themselves. And usually what's happening with this trend now is that the girls are putting them in like really fun cases, like little cute. This woman has put it in like a mermaid shell.
Cool. Oh, cute. Oh, so cute. Okay.
This woman has put it in this pearl clutch. And basically what it is like it's usually like a Raspberry Pi, like a single board computer, a little computer thing, and they will rig it up to maybe a little screen or maybe a little keyboard. And like the point of it is that it's basically endlessly customizable. Like it's for people who like to tinker and mod. And the art is really in like the doing of it. It's like, this is fun because I can express myself with technology, and it's really cool. I love to see it. Lots of different iterations. This is, I think, AI, but it still shows just like the different versions of how they can take. This one I really like, which is like a little case that opens. And I think basically like the bigger sort of trend it's pointing to, or maybe not trend, but just like maybe what it's in reaction to, is the black box, like walled garden of our iPhones and our technology that we live and work with every day and are such a big part of our lives. And like, this is an expression of like, how can we make it our own? And how can we make it fun for many of these women who are doing these types of cyberdecks? And what I think like that idea of like consuming something on your own terms is really fun. So I love it.
Totally.
To see it.
I love it too. That's really fun. Can you buy them, or is it like truly just them showing their art projects?
I also think that's another part of why it's so cool. It to me lives outside of consumerism. This is very much like the hobbyist domain. I can imagine someone selling them, but I think kind of the point of it is that you're customizing it to your own specs.
Yeah, and like handmade.
Yeah, and then it's kind of handmade. I don't know. Maybe people will start selling them. I think also like some people rig them up to little gaming. Some people do games on them. Like the use cases for them are a little bit limited, as you can imagine. But that's also part of it as well, where it's like, oh, sorry, I just see comments just blew up on my side window here. Yeah, what you do with it is also part of it. So like a little Tamagotchi stuff. It's just so fun. Really fun, really creative.
I love that. Great shout out. Okay, should we get into our interview here?
Let's get into our interview. Kate, are we ready to go? Great. Today we're talking with Raees Chowdhury, who is co-founder and chief investment officer of TokeEdge, a London-based hedge fund that just came out of stealth at a $15 million valuation. Raees spent years at BCG and was a managing partner at Revolt Ventures and has been active on chain since the heady ICO days of 2016, I'll call them. TokeEdge bills itself as the world's first regulated crypto hedge fund and recently announced something called the redemption token, which we're going to talk about today. It's a very ambitious attempt to bridge institutional finance and DeFi, and that's what we're going to be getting into today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. And yeah, very excited to spend a bit of time with you and to talk about what we're building. It's been quite a few months of building in stealth, as you picked up. And so we're quite excited to now show the world what we've been doing.
Yeah, congratulations on post-stealth life. I know that can be scary, but exciting.
Exactly. We're now doxing the team and sharing a bit more. So exactly that.
Nice. Okay, so you have quite a traditional background, BCG, Revolt Ventures, and now this regulated DeFi hedge fund. What's that journey been like?
Yeah, it's been I guess, a mix of TradFi and DeFi, as you say. And I think the crypto is pushing in that direction, right? You're starting to see less of, let's say, the pure play traditional ethos of crypto, more into now bringing institutional capital into the space. And I think I sit across both, Dan, as you mentioned too. So TradFi background, as you picked up, I started my career after Oxford at BCG in Bain, paid my dues there, and I joined a fund called Revolt, which sits under a 10 billion AUM parent fund looking at traditional finance. As a managing partner there most recently, and now building out TokeEdge with my co-founders here. And then, as you rightly picked up, I've sort of been in the DeFi space since roughly the ICO era, so around 2016, 2017. And yeah, very happy to spend a bit of time on both, but both obviously two worlds coming together here.
Man, it's so fun to meet people from that era of crypto. I got in 2017, so it's fun to look into the eyes of someone else who's lived through various market cycles and booms and busts, and kind of be like, yeah, I see you, comrade.
Yeah, we're still around, right? We're
still here. We're still here. So many of our peers have fallen by the wayside, but no, we're still here. Okay, what in terms of when you were starting up TokeEdge, what was having sort of sat across various different types of institutions, what made you realize that the fund structure wasn't the interesting fund structure for you to start wasn't going to be a traditional one like you had worked at before?
Yeah, that's actually such an interesting one, and we get that question quite a lot. So I actually want to go back to like first principles on this one, because maybe I just find it a bit interesting. If you think about it in our generation, Diana, and you think about liquid investment products, right? And you can pretty much name it on one hand. We've got like equities, we've got bonds, we've got foreign exchange, we've got commodities. And I'm now running out of fingers, like the fifth one is crypto. And crypto is one of the only ones that's actually happened in our generation. And we joke about, 10 years being a long time in the industry, but it really is one of the very few liquid asset classes that is still very novel in the space. And I think top down, that's the bit that we found most interesting, which is there are very limited liquid products that you can generally get exposure to. And having one that's sort of been created in our generation, I think is particularly exciting to build around. The second piece I think about is like bottoms up, which is I still find it amazing that people talk about crypto, but they actually talk about crypto and say, okay, well, I'm in crypto, but I'm still only holding Bitcoin. I'm still only holding Ethereum. I'm still only holding Solana. And as soon as you start moving away from stable coins in the top 10 assets, you pretty much lose not only all the TradFi investors, but you certainly start to lose some of the crypto OGs as well. Like you start to go into the top 50 tokens and people don't recognize some of these assets. And for me, I think that's the real gap in the space, right? Imagine you go to someone and you say, oh, I'm an investor in the US, but I only hold Nvidia, Google, and Netflix or Meta. Like that, you're just missing the whole space. And I think that's the piece we're trying to fill with institutional capital.
Okay. And this idea of redemption token, I think for a lot of folks, this is going to be their first time hearing it. Can you give us an explainer of what it is?
Yeah, and I hope it would be the first time because no one's ever done this before. So we're obviously designing and we've been learning along the way. But again, going back to fundamentals, if you look at crypto today, we've had a finite number of, let's say, categories of crypto asset. You have like monetary tokens, which I'd argue is just BTC. You have utility tokens like Ethereum, Solana. And then the direction of permissionless crypto has gone into governance tokens, has been the main push, and meme coins. And as you know, most of these governance tokens and meme coins, we've had the whole debate around Aave towards the tail end of last year of like, what is the actual value or function of these type of assets? And so what the redemption token does, and I can go into a little bit more detail, is it's the first crypto asset category that we're creating that actually has a function or a use that is associated with what we call redemption of an underlying product. And that's where we think it's quite different to the existing crypto assets because most of them don't have a function, don't have a use case. But here's suddenly almost like the solution we think of in the crypto space, which is having a token that actually directly has a use or function that everyone is aware of and able to, let's say, quantify and see.
Okay. My understanding of why we as an industry have not gone in that direction yet is because of securities risks, how we test. Like, what's the creative way that you guys have structured this so that you're avoiding some of that?
Correct. And I think avoiding is not the way we think about it. It's more like how we think about how do you design a crypto asset from first principles.
Yeah.
And so we actually started from the first principle, and a lot of what we built, which I'll touch upon, actually uses infrastructure that stable coins use. And so the principle we start with is, let's think about stables as an example, because I think this is a nice way of thinking about it. If you think about stablecoins as an example, imagine I'm a guy who opens a MetaMask or a Phantom wallet, and I load up with 10 USDC. Now, me having 10 USDC, I cannot directly go to Circle, knock on their door, and say, hey guys, can you convert my 10 USDC for 10 US dollars? However, I know there is an entity who has a financial incentive. If I'm willing to sell my 10 USDC for $9.999999, I know someone will buy it at that price, and they will be the ones who redeem for the $10. We basically take that same analogy into redemption tokens, which is to say the tokens themselves do not give you any underlying, let's say, ownership or access to redeem the fund itself or the pool of assets that live underneath. But we know, and the market using the blockchain has full visibility on the value of the net asset value of the fund. And therefore, they know how much the tokens are required to unlock how much value. And then we let the market freely price. And that's the cool part, which is markets can price it at a premium, at a discount, however they want.
And there is a secondary market for the token. Is that correct?
Correct, yes. So the way the token is structured, the redemption token, it's a purely permissionless asset. So it can live on any public blockchain, Solana, Ethereum. It can be traded on DEXs, CEXs, and it can also be integrated into DeFi protocols. And that's the bit that's very different to what I would say. People always jump to the word of like, is this tokenization? And it's actually quite different to traditional tokenization because the route the traditional tokenization gone has actually been to take a security, tokenize it, and have a tokenized security. And that pretty much limits, which you picked up, the number of market participants who can trade this asset. In our scenario, it's very different. We've taken the opposite route.
And talk a little bit about what trade-offs you had to make structurally in order to be able to design this in a way that was going to be effective. Because as I'm sort of understanding it, it's TradFi and DeFi together, and surely there were some moments where you had to make some structural decisions around probably decentralization in order to have this thing kind of work. Is that a right way to think about it or not?
That's the exact way to think about it. I think a lot of what we've been designing actually has been kind of what you described, which is bridging the best of TradFi and DeFi is how we see it. So I'll give you a few examples of what I think were like our trade-offs as we took. So one of the trade-offs we took was, given we are setting up basically an underlying fund and these redemption tokens are required to redeem from the fund by fund investors only, one of the examples we give is how would we hold fund assets? And I think if you look at the pure DeFi philosophy, you would go down the route that, for example, Drift Protocol and all these other, let's say, pure DeFi primitives have done, which is all of these, let's say, tokens or assets are held in a smart contract and they're on chain, and therefore they're fully decentralized. Now, that obviously has its pros in the sense of, you can actually control the smart contract, you have visibility, all the benefits of decentralization. But we took the trade-off of saying, if you're an institutional investor, do you trust a DeFi smart contract to hold significant amounts of capital? And instead, our solution is, why don't we actually use the best of TradFi, which is to use a custodian, which means that we as a fund manager, we don't have ownership over the assets, we don't have any way in which we can access them directly, they're protected, they're insured by a third party, and therefore we're almost using the best of TradFi. Even though the assets live on the blockchain, they're held by a TradFi designed custodian who knows how to do DeFi. And so that was an example of one of the trade-offs we took, where we said, look, from first principles, we want it to be assets that live on the blockchain or are decentralized, but we don't want it to be held in a smart contract. We want a custodian to manage it. And
keep going, please. Sorry to interrupt. Please go.
No, that's one of the biggest examples, I think, because we always get this question of, you could actually not use a custodian, and you cannot, maybe you decide not to use an auditor, or maybe you don't use a fund director, or you don't use one of these infrastructure layers. But as soon as you do that, like if you think about real capital, like for real capital to flow into crypto, they're more familiar with the traditional structures, right? They're used to custodians, they're used to auditors, they're used to fund directors, they're used to a governance layer that sits independent of us as fund managers. And so in our view, we keep all of that beneficial structure, but we still use the best of DeFi. We keep all the assets on chain, they're visible on chain. People can see the NAV of the fund, the tokens are fully tradable. So it's almost the accumulation of both.
Yeah, I get that. I feel it really resonates with me. I feel as though one of the places that I most betray the sort of purest view of crypto and decentralization is on the custodian layer. And even myself, for my small, very, very, very small, modest holdings, like having been in the industry since 2016, 2017, like I'm still terrified. Like I'm still terrified to self-custody, and I do it in moments, but like my preference is not to. And so I totally just to say, really get why you've made that specific design decision for the level of capital that you're dealing with, because just the risk feels like too much to bear, honestly, sometimes.
Yeah, and I really think you're like, imagine you're thinking this and you've been in DeFi with me for like 9 years. But imagine you're speaking to an institutional allocator who wants to put in X million, they hold a bit of Bitcoin, let's say through a DAT structure or with an ETF with BlackRock. And they're like, look, I would love to do more DeFi, but one, I have no idea how to get exposure to it. I have no idea how to see it, but they're not willing to move away from a structure they're familiar with. And they have the right reason, right? They'll say, smart contract, what happens if you get hacked? I don't think, in 2026, I don't think it's an appropriate answer to say we're trying our best through.
Totally.
Yeah. And I think, why not use the best of TradFi?
Yeah, totally. I totally agree. I also feel like we're, I don't even want to say this, but like, it feels as though it's like hacks are accelerating. Like there's a lot that we're seeing even over the past 2 weeks. I'm like, my gosh, like I can't handle another news story of some exploit. And yeah, it feels like that, again, like is a risk profile that like I'm unwilling to take from my own money. And I can't imagine it being on behalf of other people. So I think that's smart. In terms of the folks that you're speaking to, like what's the profile and like what's their appetite for this as an investment at this point in time, given market and everything?
Yeah, but it's actually been such an interesting journey for us because obviously we came out of stealth roughly around 10 days ago. And it's been, as you know, it's like kind of a weird bear market in DeFi right now. But it's been an incredible precedent for us. So I think even when we were building in stealth, we obviously spoke to a lot of builders and got validation in cross TradFi and DeFi. And what's been super nice is a lot of them turned around and said, guys, like, we'd love to come into this vehicle. We think it's super novel and interesting. And so that's been, I guess, one piece of validation excellent for us. And in the last 10 days, we've actually spoken to, I guess, I would almost bracket into 2 types of groups, which we actually are exactly what we hypothesized would be. I think on one side, we have TradFi names that you would probably recognize too, like from very big hedge funds, from very big entities who are saying, look, this is a really novel way to get regulated and let's say clean exposure to the DeFi space in a vehicle like I described with a custodian structure they're used to. And think of it as like they're used to doing equities, right, in a hedge fund structure. but now they're just doing a hedge fund structure identical, but applied to crypto and DeFi. So it's much easier for them, and they want to allocate, 5% of the portfolio, 6% of the portfolio into this type of vehicle. The second piece has been primarily crypto allocators, which has actually been a nice surprise for us, which has been even in the crypto space, where obviously they know how to self-custody, they know how to allocate into the space. I think the gap here has been the token model. And I'd be happy to spend a bit more time with you on like how the redemption token works. But the second piece, which is primarily interesting, is a lot of our crypto investors who are showing interest are saying, look, there is missing this idea of like new crypto, let's say asset type models or crypto asset categories that are actually solving some of the problems I described before.
That makes sense.
To almost describe how the redemption token works. It's actually we're just cleaning up the white paper and getting the legal sign off on it, but we will make that public, which is a bit of an alpha for you or a bit of a leak for you over the next couple of weeks.
Okay, can you explain any more, or is it really just is it still in stealth as well? Yeah,
I can start to explain a little bit. So maybe the principle of like how the redemption token works, and tell me, like, I'd love to be a back and forth, and I'd love all the viewers as well to sort of contribute and tell me how they think about it too. So there's no precedent of what we're doing to start with. So this is one of the very cool new asset models or crypto asset categories that's been designed. But the way we like to explain how the redemption token works is, imagine you have a box, and that box lives on the blockchain and is a transparent box, and everyone can view what's inside it. And in that box, let's assume for whatever reason, you put X amount of, let's say there's $10 in the box or $100 in the box. Let's use $100. How the redemption tokens actually work is they are a key required for you to redeem from the box, but only the fund investors are the ones who can redeem using that key from this box itself. However, the secondary market knows that there's $100 in this box. So whether it's Diana, you're one of the fund investors, or me, or anyone else who's a fund investor, everyone knows that if you have the key, you can unlock $100 worth of value. And then we let the market purely decide, which is the keys can be completely traded in a decentralized way. They can be integrated into any protocol, Aave, Pendle, Morpho, however you want to name it. And the complete market decides, does it trade at $9.9? Does it trade at $20? Does it trade at $100? Pure free market. And that's the piece that I think is super cool, because we're actually giving a function to this crypto asset. The function is, it actually is used to redeem or open this box. The box is fully visible. It's verifiable on chain. Everyone knows what the value of that box is. And then the market purely decides on price. One of the nice analogies we give, or like a very simplistic analogy we give is, let's say, for example, everyone knows in the box there's $100 worth of value. Now, if the tokens are trading at, let's say the keys, we call it the token, but let's say the tokens are trading at 80 cents on the dollar. So they're trading at a discount. Obviously, there's a financial incentive for someone to buy the tokens, open the box, and take out the capital, right? It's like when you go to a fairground game. That's one scenario. The other scenario is if the tokens are trading, let's say they're at $200, $300, whatever it might be, and maybe because it's being used in a DeFi protocol, however else. In that scenario, the box never gets opened. The box is still there. The value in the box might be changing. The $100 might become $200 because the fund does well, etc. And the market fully decides. And I think that's the beauty. I hope I explained it quite simplistically, because it's almost like a fairground game, which is like there's a box, there's keys, and then we play a game. What is the question?
Fascinating and totally novel. A couple probably quite stupid questions, but is the value, the tokens that are in the box, are they being actively traded? Or are they like deposits?
Yes, so the tokens that live in the box, i.e. the fund itself, so that is actually being traded. So we manage that as a fund, and that looks like a traditional crypto hedge fund. The redemption tokens are completely independent of the box itself. They're almost like a key required for you to unlock the box.
Okay, got it. The box is being traded. That's how it's generating value, presumably, on good days. And then the tokens is your sort of access to your portion of that fund.
Correct, exactly.
Okay, fascinating. And is there, and this might be too in the weeds, but like, is there an unlock period? Like if I am a key holder, am I able to instantly redeem? Is there an unlock? Like, how does that work?
Great question. Yes. So we actually think about it as what we call like a bounded NAV, or like a bounded arbitrage, which is the tokens can be redeemed on a monthly basis by the fund investors. Okay. And that happens after a 12-month lockup. So exactly as you described, how the flow basically works is, let's say after the 12 months, which is a standard hedge fund lockup, on month 13 or month 50 or month 100, whenever it is, any investor can choose from the fund to come back to us and say, hey, I'm bringing the tokens back. I'm bringing my fund shares back. I'm now ready to unlock the box. That can happen at any point in time.
Cool. Wow, exciting. That's cool.
Yeah, we think it's super interesting. And you mentioned stable coins. I think it's actually, we use a lot of the stablecoin infra and how we think about it. It's just the difference with stables is you actually need a stable to be pegged to the price for it to function as a stable coin, right? Imagine if a stable coin is trading at 90 cents on the dollar, people would panic and freak out. In our scenario, because it's an underlying fund, and then the tokens just trade completely freely, the redemption tokens. They can trade at, they can trade at $200, $500, whatever it is, relative to the box. They can trade below, they can trade above. The market just purely decides. And that is the nature of how we've designed it. It doesn't need to be pegged or associated to the NAV directly.
Cool. And just to go back very briefly to the market, and in terms of like conversations that you're having with folks on the ground, is there an appetite for this right now? Like I'm assuming your answer is going to be yes, and I'm wanting that hopium, but just like given where we're at, like how what's your sense on sort of like this cycle and how that shows up in some of the conversations that you're having around TokeEdge?
Yeah, for sure. I think interestingly, we found traditional finance is very keen on obviously getting DeFi allocation into the longer tail. And I think on the crypto side, is looking for more novel token structures.
Yeah.
I think the biggest sort of, if I think about DeFi right now, I think if I actually think about it in two ways, I think the market's gone in two directions is my sort of view on it. One direction it's gone has been try and keep everything fully decentralized. But then, as you know, most of these governance tokens and on the market, they just have no value. Like there's no way, if I'm holding these tokens, I know that there's VCs dumping them. I know there's no fundamental use case. That's the direction I think we're trying to solve for. The other direction has been to just tokenize, as you say. And I think the issue with tokenization is as soon as you tokenize a particular asset, and like an example I like to give is the direction tokenization going is actually not increasing market participation. Because an example would be if I tokenize a Google share, most of the market in general can buy a Google share anyway through TradFi rails, especially if you make them whitelist and KYC their wallets, right? Actually, by tokenizing a Google share, maybe you're increasing the number of market participants very slightly, and maybe someone wants to trade 24 hours. But it's sort of the wrong direction I think crypto is going, which is like the blockchain rails to tokenize an asset that's already accessible through TradFi rails is my opinion, quite limited. And so the direction we're going is actually to say, can we not only increase the number of market participants by keeping it absolutely anyone can trade the underlying token, which in our case is the redemption token, but at the same time actually introduce products that they otherwise could not access. And I think that's the interesting part where we think we're quite unique in the build in that way.
Yeah, I love it. It's a maturing that I think is long overdue, and I'm excited to see. So congratulations to you and the team. Where can people find out more?
Yes, so we are still working our way through of obviously building knowledge around the space with you guys as well. So we are on Twitter at Tok_Edge, and we're also on TokeEdge.com, which is TOK-EDGE.com as well.
We'll drop the link in the bio as well. Well, so such a pleasure to chat, and I'm looking forward to following along.
Thanks so much, Dan, and thank you for taking the time. And yeah, you're one of the first people we're speaking to as we take our baby public. So we're very excited.
So exciting! Congratulations. Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.